Guys, it's Brandon Miniman from Techno Buffalo, and in this video we're going to take a look at the internet browsing experience of the iPod Touch 3rd generation compared to the new Zune HD. So let's launch the internet browsers on both. On the Zune HD it's simply called Internet. I'm going to tap on that and go to Safari on the iPod Touch. Now what you're going to notice right off the bat is that the Zune HD actually makes really good use of screen space. So the only buttons that occur happen on the bottom strip. So we have a favorites button that allows you to go to a variety of favorites or add a new favorite. We have a back button that's dimmed out right now. We can search, although it only uses Bing to search. You can't change your search provider. And then we can tap on the little strip to bring up the address bar. And we can use the really interesting keyboard here, and we're going to go through that in a second, to type a URL. Whereas on the iPod Touch, you have a lot more screen space being used by system elements, such as the notification bar at the top, and the address bar in the top of Safari, and the whole button bar along the bottom. When you're on a mobile device, screen space is at a premium, and I really like how the Zune HD has made really good use of the limited screen space that it has. Okay, so let's see which web browser is faster in loading Engadget. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. Looks like the iPod Touch is almost done. And here comes the Zune HD. The iPod Touch is finished. The Zune HD is not done yet. The Zune HD is a little bit slower. It's still not done. I'm actually surprised at how long it's taking. But let's see how it has rendered various elements on the page. I know it's tough to see here, but the OLED screen on the Zune HD makes for a very, very sharp and clear picture, and the colors are just super vivid. Let's take a look at screen rotation speed. We'll zoom out a little bit to do that. Screen rotation speed on the Zune HD is rocket fast. Much faster than the iPod Touch. And you get the point. Let's take a look at how these devices resize columns when you double tap to zoom in. So I see some text underneath of this picture of a phone, and I'm going to do likewise over here, so double tap. Okay, resized it quite well, double tap. Resized it quite well, although it's much easier to read on the iPod Touch. Let's do a flick down to see how fast it redraws the screen. Redraws the screen a little bit faster on the iPod Touch, although I think that's because the flick is taking it down not as far. The Zune HD lets you go a little bit further. They're about pretty much equal. Of course, the Zune HD has a capacitive screen, so it has multi-touch. You can zoom in like so, and of course you can do that with the iPod Touch. And let's click on something else, FAQ. Looks like the Zune HD didn't even register that screen press. Oh, there it goes. And it's almost done. It looks like it's still loading, but we can use the page now. So double tap to zoom in, double tap to zoom in. Again, the text on the iPod Touch is more readable. I think that's attributed to it having a wider resolution, 320 across versus 272 pixels across. So let's take a look at how it renders another web page. Let's do Amazon. So we'll go down here, Amazon, go into the favorites list, and here, I'm going to do it at the same time. Here we go, the iPod Touch finished about 2 seconds before the Zune HD. The Zune HD actually remembered where I was last time on the page. I was actually on this page earlier, and I was in the upper left corner. Let's view these in landscape. Now something that the Zune HD can't do that the iPod Touch can do is have multiple screens, multiple tabs open at one time. So obviously with the iPod Touch you can add a new page and go to a different website. You can't do that on the Zune HD. They want you to look at one web page at a time, which kind of makes sense. It's a very multimedia centric device. It's not trying to be an awesome, amazing internet browsing device. So let's see what it's like to enter a URL on the Zune HD. Let's talk about the keyboard. So let's say we want to go to Gizmodo. So Gizmodo. Very easy to use keyboard. Unfortunately, it does not work in landscape. Now, unfortunately, by default, the Zune HD loads the mobile version, the watered-down version of websites. And a lot of websites these days have mobile versions. They're basically like RSS feeds. They just give you the headline, sometimes a little bit of text. You don't get the full experience. There is no way to turn this off, unfortunately, except for finding where it says, click here to view the classic Gizmodo. Most mobile websites have a link right to that, to the desktop version of the site. And here Gizmodo's coming through quite slow. Zune HD doesn't have flash support, just like the iPod Touch, so you're not going to be able to watch Hulu movies or even YouTube. And it's about done loading here. Something I found really annoying about the Zune HD, two problems with the internet browser. One, when you go back into the internet browser, it has to reload the page completely. It doesn't store it in memory like the iPod Touch and show you the last website you were looking at. Number two, getting out of the web browser is slow. Not sure it's going to do it here, but I'm going to go to the home screen. And we get a blank screen for a good 5 seconds, which is kind of a long time to get out of a program. Hopefully in future ROM updates this will get a little bit faster. And finally, there are some settings for the web browser. Let's go down to settings. Not that many though. Go to internet. We can delete history if you don't want people to know where you've been. You can have cookies enabled and script enabled or disabled. I'm assuming that turning it off would make the browser a little bit faster. So overall, the Zune HD's web browser is quite good. It features extremely fast screen rotation, really good rendering fidelity with multi-touch, and the screen makes the colors really pop, the OLED screen. And it also has a very minimal interface that helps to really make good use of the limited screen space that is characteristic of a mobile device. That said, it's not as fast as the iPod Touch in terms of loading the page. It doesn't let you have multiple tabs open at one time, and also the shutdown and the time it takes to turn on the web browser or open the web browser is a bit too long. Hopefully we'll see refinements on these issues in future ROMs and future versions of the Zune. For now, it's pretty darn good to start. That's it for now.